Time to go hit some chest day. I actually read on the routine, it's supposed to be back and then chest tomorrow, but there's no way doing a back-to-back like this. My legs are still shot, and the back day calls for deadlifts. So if I were to try to do that right now, no, it would hurt too much. Make sure that your body has enough time to recover. Always be aware of that. Be aware of where your body is, how it feels, and kind of go from there. And my chest is fresh, so I'm going to go hit that tonight. Might actually take tomorrow off.
Right on. I am gonna hit a homer today. Oh yeah.
Alright, so now we're gonna go over the boost chest workout day. And I have completed all my warm-up sets for this. Here I happen to be doing a dumbbell bench press, and that's only because I didn't have anyone available in the gym to spot me on a bar, and if I'm going to be pushing myself to the max possible weight for 3 reps, I would want a spotter available. So if you don't have that, dumbbells are completely fine, and the whole point is just a 3x3 heavy like the other workouts. And one little tip here is when you go to sit back up, can actually put the weight with your arms straight to your knees and use the momentum to rock yourself forward. Now after that 3rd set of 3 with the dumbbell bench, then I go ahead, drop the weight to 40% and pump out 30 reps. And here when I'm doing it, I actually lift my feet off the ground, as you can see, to kind of straighten out that arch in my back a little bit and get more of the focus directly on the muscle itself. And you'll notice in a lot of these chest exercises that it looks like I'm only doing a small partial rep, but that's because if you think of where the muscle is located, it's attaching your upper arm to your chest. And so to contract that muscle, you have to bring those areas together, and it doesn't actually incorporate the elbow joint. So I'm focused on just the movement of my upper arm as opposed to anything past the elbow. Now for the first set of 14 reps exercise, it calls for a hammer strength incline press. Now in my gym, the machine for that is a little bit of a different shape, so I did this standing up, which is just fine. But the whole point here, again, is you get that slow rep in the middle, is that you are focused on contracting that upper chest and then pushing through that slow movement for a full range of motion. And you will actually engage quite a bit of your core if you do this correctly. Now, after that exercise, we move on to either a weighted or assisted dips. Now, depending on what you can do, a lot of gyms will have machines where they have a little weight that pushes back against your body to take load off of you so you can do the reps, or if you need to add weight, that's fine too. And when you're doing this, just like as I mentioned earlier, we're doing all partial movements, and that is because the focus is on pulling the upper arm towards the body to contract the pec muscles, rather than the extension of the elbow, which engages the triceps. Also, if you notice on this particular exercise, I am keeping my elbows to my sides and behind me, as opposed to out towards the side. And that is because when I do that, I'm actually engaging my pec minor muscles. They're a smaller assisted muscle to the pecs that sit underneath, and by strengthening those, you'll add a lot more depth and development to your chest. Alright, now after the 3 main exercises, we're on to the finishers again. And for chest day, I also have the same exercise just like the shoulder day, where I do push-ups to failure, except if you notice here, I have my hands a little bit more out to the side instead of directly behind me. And how the weight is positioned on the bottom corners of my hands, it's like I'm trying to push the floor together across my chest. Finisher exercise number 2 is just the pec deck flies. doing sets of 20 with a very short rest in between. And here you can find usually a pec deck machine like this, or you can do it on a bench with dumbbells if you don't have one. But basically you want to set it so that you're getting the maximal stretch at the end. And when I go about these reps here, as you'll notice, I bring it together, but I kind of stick in the middle third of the range of motion, because at the very, very front, I'm engaging a little too much bicep, and at the very back, I mean, you only want to go back so far that you feel the stretch actually in the chest muscles, and not to the point where it's very awkward, you know, when you're setting it back, so it has to sit on the stack of weights. Now the third finisher on the chest day routine is just a seated chest press, usually on a machine, and you want to pick a moderate weight, but one of the tricks here is that as I am pushing it forward and I'm not fully extending, I actually have my hands and I am pulling together on those handles, almost like I'm trying to pinch the handles together, even though I know they're not going to move, and you will notice how much more that engages your chest muscles. Now, once you are done with all the exercises for the day, the extreme stretch for your chest is actually, I go back and I use the dumbbell fly or the machine fly, and I add weight to it that's not super heavy, but it's enough to pull back against my hands, and I lower the weight stack down so it's just barely touching and sitting on the weights behind it. So there's a little bit of tension there, and it's holding my arms open and stretching out my chest muscles. I'm holding it for 45 seconds to allow for that full stretch. And this one, a lot of people experience quite a burn in the muscle because you are having to contract a little bit to sustain that, but you want to get the optimal stretch, you know, without hurting your shoulder joints.